Hello and welcome back to Typical City, the new home for champions of the world. That's right here, Typical City. Unbelievable statement. The first team ever to win 5 trophies in a calendar year is just outrageous. I don't think we're ever going to appreciate the scale and the magnitude of that achievement. And the next likely time that's ever going to happen again, which team is going to do that again? Name me a team in the near future that's going to achieve what Manchester City have achieved. Name me a team that is going to win the treble again. And not only win the treble like United did in '99, but to go and win the Super Cup and the FIFA Club World Cup as well. 5 trophies in a single year. Manchester City putting more than one cherry on that cake. We've littered that cake with cherries right now. It's very delicious. Very delicious. Name me another side that's won 4 domestic trophies in a single season. Name me another side that's got 100 points in a single Premier League season. This team right here is the best England has ever seen. Ever. Facts. Right there. Facts. There is no team in the world that can compete with the history that this Manchester City side has created, and it's going to take decades and decades and decades of teams trying and sweating it out and attempting to come close, even trying to emulate what Manchester City have done, is going to be a near impossible task. An incredible achievement for Manchester City, but the media in this country, they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about Manchester City's successes. All of the media seems to say Manchester City have won the Club World Cup, but Rodri's injured. That's Rodri, he's out. Manchester City are suffering. The dampener on the day is Rodri. But yeah, apparently Manchester City are also Club World Cup champions, but we'll sweep that under the rug. Get rid of that information because nobody cares about that apparently. And apparently nobody cares about City, but here they are still talking about City, but in the most negative possible way you can imagine. The headline from Sky Sports News, for example, was Rodri close to crying after horror tackle. Jack Grealish escorted out by security. That's the headline from yesterday, apparently, from Sky Sports. Not Manchester City Club World Cup champions, champions of the world, European Super Cup champions, treble winners, all in one season, all in one calendar year. No one's talking about that. Rodri was nearly crying and Jack Grealish escorted out of security. So they might say that no one cares about City. Oh, they fucking do. They fucking do. They just don't want to care about us in the positive sense. They want to care about us in the negative sense, writing horrible headlines like that from what arguably now the biggest sports media outlet in the country. Honestly, pull it together. Right, anyway, moving on as the champions of the world. Swivel on it, people. Rival fans, swivel on it. Oh, you love to see it, don't you? Match stats against Fluminense in the FIFA Club World Cup final yesterday. 54% possession to City. The game was a really exciting game. I think even the neutral would sit down and watch this and go, that was a really good game of football. And fair play to Fluminense in the first half. I thought they approached the game with bravery and a strong sense of possession and a caring attitude for the football. I thought it was really good, and that echoes into the possession stats you can see there. A reasonably close game. Control-wise, not a typical City game. 54% to their 46%. Everything else is pretty much what you'd expect from City. 15 shots to their 5, 8 on target to their 2, 2.5 XG to their 0.75, 4 big chances to their 0, 530 passes, 444 passes to Fluminense, 11 fouls, which I'm surprised at, and only 13 for them. 3 yellow cards, and I mean, they were going in hard in the end. I mean, Felipe Melo at the end, I mean, how he didn't get booked is beyond me. 3 of their players got booked, and one of them wasn't Felipe Melo. Apparently, Alexander, John Kennedy, and Marcelo, if I remember rightly, were the 3 players that got booked. But still, anyway, really good that we've come out from it. Rodri's injury is not as bad as first feared, according to the man himself, which is straight out of the horse's mouth. No offence to Rodri, he doesn't resemble a horse at all. A little bit, actually. A little bit horsey. But, I mean, I can talk. I've got a reasonably long face as well. So, yeah, moving on from the horse talk. Rodri should be okay. According to him, I mean, he was jumping around with the trophy up and down, going, hey, at the end, lifting around the FIFA Club World Cup. So hopefully he's okay. He says it himself, so I like to believe it. It's just the morning after, once all the blood stopped aggressively being pumped around your body with all the adrenaline mixed in there as well. The morning after, that's when you see the real damage. Has it swollen up at all? Is there any long-term potential damage there? Is he opened up a tendon of any kind? Is he outstretched any muscles, anything like that? You need to be really careful of being overly zealous and being like, right, I'm ready, I'm fine, don't worry about me, I'm fine. There's bravery and then there's stupidity, and I'd rather him miss the Everton game and have him back for the next game than risk him against Everton and then be out long-term. You know, you got to have that balancing act. Hopefully he's okay. From what I've heard, he says it himself, so fingers crossed. Moving on to the player ratings now. Ederson got off to a bit of a shaky start at the beginning of the game. Couple of passes were going astray. Fabio at the other end of the pitch was doing really well as well. He was playing out from the back, very similar to Ederson's style of goalkeeping, you know, very much ball at the feet type goalkeeping. And Ederson's first half wasn't great, but second half he really stepped up. There was a couple of moments, some sweeper keeping. Came out to head the ball from about 40, 50 yards out from goal. Well, the stats back me up there as well. His passing accuracy wasn't the best, 75%. No key passes, but 2 saves, both in the second half. A punch, a high claim, 2 runs out successful. I'm pretty sure all of those stats were in the second half when Fluminense were throwing the kitchen... Well, I wouldn't say they were throwing the kitchen sink at us, but they tried to throw the kitchen sink at us. And Ederson patted away pretty much everything that came his way. So reasonably good performance from Ederson. Shaky first half, but not much to do for him. 6.5 for Ederson. Kyle Walker. Now these, I'm going to throw in the ground jewels now. I know people have been asking for it in the comments, saying to put the ground jewels on. I know it's an indication. Tackles is a big indication of how a defender's really done it. But, I mean, this game in particular was a game I wanted to put the ground jewels in because of the amount of jewels that were taking place on the pitch against Fluminense players who weren't shy of putting in a tackle or at least getting stuck into our players. But what's interesting is these are the best defensive numbers you're going to see out of all of our defence. And I'll go on to explain why further into the video, with some of our attacking players making more sense of these figures that we see from our defenders, because it was a reasonably quiet day for our defenders, but Kyle Walker, out of all of the defenders we had on that pitch, was putting up the best numbers defensively. And passing accuracy of 100%, that's 61 passes. You know, whether they're sideways or 5-yard passes, sideways, whatever, still, 100%. Even Ruben Diaz, who's the most common player to pass it sideways 5 yards, even he's not getting 100%. So well played Kyle Walker for getting that top mark, 61 passes out of 61. None of them were key though. 3 tackles. He won 4 out of 7 ground duels. The dribbled past, I've got to stick that in there because it's a growing concern for me. I've got one eye on Kyle Walker's speed because... was it Francois, I think his name is, the lad who came on for Crystal Palace in the second half of that Palace 2-2 draw. He came on and rinsed Kyle Walker, showed him a clean pair of heels and dusted him. He got beaten twice yesterday by John Kennedy, and I think it was Arias was the other player that beat Kyle Walker for speed, which is something that's going to happen with age. One thing to keep an eye on. But he's still putting up the numbers defensively elsewhere, and there were times where he wasn't getting caught with speed, and he did get back and prevent counter-attacks. There was a couple of moments in the first half that I remember from Kyle Walker that were decent. 2 dribble attempts as well, one of which was successful. I think he played reasonably well, Kyle Walker, 7 out of 10 for me. Ruben Diaz, very minimal things to talk about, and this is what I was saying. There was not much defensive actions for Ruben Diaz to talk about, alarmingly so, to be honest, because it's not like Fluminense offered nothing. They did offer something, but not much for Ruben Diaz to do. 59 touches, 93% passing accuracy, no tackles, no ground duels, no interceptions, 2 aerial duels attempted. He didn't win either. No block shots. 6 out of 10 for Ruben Diaz because it was just a bit of nothingness. A lot of nothingness for him, really, in this game. Very little action to speak about with the name of Ruben Diaz. Manuel Akanji came on for 16 minutes. Even he had a little bit more action. A little something, as Will Smith off The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air used to say. A little something for Manuel Akanji to do, but he did it reasonably well. 1 ground duel and he won it. 1 tackle won. 80% passing accuracy. 11 touches of the ball in 16 minutes of play. So, yeah, only because it was 16 minutes do I give Manuel Akanji a 6 out of 10, but still reasonable. Looking forward to seeing Manuel Akanji in the second half of the season. Gvardiol is a little bit of a concern for me. Always, every time I speak about Gvardiol, even if it's in a negative way, it always comes with a caveat of he's 21. He's a kid. And I forget that. It's the big bushy beard. It's the great big bushy beard that I forget how young he is, because he makes himself look about 40 with that beard. But I mean, really, this is a kid we're talking about who is, I think he's started to struggle to find his feet at Manchester City. I think he needs to be pulled out of the firing line a little bit. Go and train with Nathan Ake, mate. Go and watch what Nathan Ake does. Learn from the master, because Nathan Ake right now is an immense defender. And Gvardiol's coming on for 15 minutes, 2 ground duel attempts, 0-1, and he was dribbled past once. Passing accuracy was 100%, but we're talking about 7 passes, if I remember rightly, 9 touches of the ball. I've got to give him a 5.5 because he came on and gave away big opportunities in that game, shooting opportunities, one which caused Edison to make a save, which he punched over the bar. That came from Gvardiol giving it away in a ground duel on the halfway line, and then he was dribbled past in the same, 10 seconds passage of play. I think there's a massive future for Gvardiol, but I've got a big eye on him this season in particular, because he's starting to show little frailties in his game that can be ironed out over time. Learn with Pep Guardiola and the rest of the defenders in this squad. And I have every reason to believe still that this guy's going to go on to be a superstar. Still believe that. And I don't think he could do anything this season, and I still believe that, going off what I saw at RB Leipzig. But 5.5 for this game. Nathan Ake, on the other hand, solid. There you go. Typical defenders' numbers, same as Kyle Walker on the other side of the pitch. Really, really good. A bit loosey-goosey with the passing accuracy there, 82%. Nathan Ake is normally a lot higher than that. But still, 81 minutes he played, 59 touches, 1 key pass, 2 tackles, a clearance, 1 aerial duel. He won it. 3 ground duels. He won them all. That's what I'm talking about as a defender. And I think people now, even there was a lot of negativity to Nathan Ake. Even last season, at the end of last season, people weren't convinced. Now you are. You better add be. How are you not convinced by this guy? I mean, this guy's just, our best defender. He is our best defender. Last season I would have said John Stones with his versatility, but now it's absolutely Nathan Ake. 7 out of 10 for him. John Stones, okay performance from him, a little bit on the quiet side. Again, kept things moving nicely in midfield with that 97% passing accuracy, 40 touches to his name. He only played the 75 minutes, which is good game management from Pep to bring him off. A key pass, 2 out of 2 aerial duels, a shot, wasn't on target, a clearance, 2 ground duels, and he didn't win either of them. It's a little bit harsh. He could sway me towards the 6.5 if you pulled my arm a little bit, but I'm going to go with a 6 because it was a reasonably quiet performance from John Stones in midfield. But still, far from a bad performance from John Stones. Rico Lewis, I felt like he was a lot more aggressive. He was involved, and he I don't know. There are times prior in his career that he's looked like, when it comes to the physical side of the game, he's looked like a boy amongst men. Yesterday he was a man amongst men. Yesterday, I really do believe that. With his ground duels, you can see there, and you're starting to see the pattern as to why Ruben Diaz, Akanji, and maybe a little bit of John Stones, who's dropping into defence, into the middle of the defence, why they didn't have any ground duels. It's because players in front of them, like Rico Lewis, were doing the dirty work for them. Rodri in particular. Our front four, you'll see their ground duels in a minute, and you'll see why they had little work to do at the back. The likes of Ruben Diaz, Akanji, and John Stones. They had very little to do because players like Rico Lewis were doing it for them, and that's not knocking them behind them. That's just well done for the people in front of them, making life very easy for the defenders. Really good from Rico Lewis to get 6 ground duels and winning 4 of them against this particular side as well. Do not forget, Fluminense were going in hard, and he didn't shy away from a single tackle. Love that from Rico Lewis. 2 tackles to his name, 5 times he lost the ball. 84% passing accuracy, and could work on that a little bit. He's got 61 minutes to his name. 6.5 for Rico Lewis. Solid in the middle. Same again for Rodri. Give him a 7 for pretty much an exact Rodri performance. There you go. 95 touches, 95% passing accuracy. He came off in the 74th minute with that horrific attempted injury, attempted murder, as Alex Ferguson. He could have killed him. Anyway, he didn't die, thankfully. He's okay. 74 minutes and 95% passing accuracy, really good ball retention, a key pass, a tackle, 3 interceptions. Again, another example of preventing that ball getting through the lines and into the danger zones, into the work path of Ruben Diaz and John Stones. They didn't have to do any work because he's intercepting the ball 3 times and he's got 3 ground duel attempts and he's won all 3 and he only lost the ball 5 times. Really good from Rodri, 7 out of 10. Mateo Kovacic came on, 29 minutes of action, 23 touches. There was a couple of moments that really stood out to me. Dribbling, as you can see at the bottom of that graphic, 2 out of 2 dribbles, 1 down the left wing where I swear that I think 2 out of 2 is actually all in the same action, because I think he beat 2 players in the space of about 5 seconds, where he was just lovely footwork going down the left wing. Really good. 3 ground duels, 2-1, no tackles to his name, no key passes. He only lost the ball 3 times, and I'm getting more and more confident the more I see Kovacic. Really looking forward to seeing him in the second half of the season. A midfield performance like that, he would have got a higher score had he not only played for 29 minutes, but still really good from Mateo Kovacic. Nunes, another 6.5. That 0.5, he would have got a 6 without the assist, but the awareness to find Alvarez for that 4th goal, really good from Mateo Nunes. 100% passing accuracy, of which I think it's like 6 passes, so not many passes to talk about, but still completed them all. 1 key pass, sorry, no shots, no aerial duels, 2 ground duels, he only won the 1. Phil Foden, 81 minutes played by Phil Foden. It was a really, really good performance from Phil Foden. Really, really good. 59 touches, 90% passing accuracy, 1 key pass, 1 tackle, 3 out of 6 shots on target, 2 dribble attempts, neither was successful. He lost the ball 9 times, but he comes away with a goal, effectively an assist through his own making. He forced, was it Javier or Nino, who deflected into his own goal for an own goal, but it was Phil Foden's attempted cross that was deflected in. He deserved that, Phil Foden, and then he gets on the end of Alvarez's cross to make it 3-0 as well. Really good performance from Phil Foden. Again, attacking sense, really, really good. 8 out of 10 for Phil Foden. Bernardo Silva. I want to jump straight to that ground duels again. This is what I'm talking about in players that were just not shying away and doing the dirty graft. The graft up front is what we want to see from these guys. You know, preventing the ball from even getting into our half by winning 6 out of 11 ground duels. And he's going up against Felipe Melo. I mean, I'm giving him 0.5 just for pushing Felipe Melo in the back. Felipe Melo was giving it large all game, giving it the big uns. Everybody was getting on the end of a Felipe Melo boot at some point in this game, but Bernardo Silva was having none of it, mate. Pushes him in the back, gives him a smash right in the spine. Have that one, you big bastard. And I don't care how big you are, and I don't care how small I am, says Bernardo Silva. Love it from Bernardo Silva. 1 out of 2 dribbles, 1 big chance created. He gave the ball away 10 times. And 6 key passes as well. Really, really creative from Bernardo Silva, who played the full 90 minutes with 67 touches to his name. 7.5 for Bernardo Silva. Really good. Jack Grealish, reasonably good. Again, same as Bernardo Silva. Let's jump to that ground duels again. 6 out of 9, 1. Again, really aggressive. It was an aggressive game. And our players showed no signs of not being or having any sense of fear or worry about going against the street football of Fluminense, the aggression that they proposed throughout that game. They didn't shy away. Any of our creative midfield players and attackers that are small in size but big in bravery and big in heart. Big up to Jack Grealish for putting those ground duels like that. 6 out of 9 is really good. 2 tackles to his name as well. An interception, another example of preventing that ball getting out of their half. Key passes, 5 times he lost the ball, 88% passing accuracy. Really good from Jack Grealish, 7 out of 10. Julian Alvarez, 9 out of 10. Man of the match, hands down, purely just for his goal involvement. An assist and 2 goals. The improvisation that he showed to chest it in on the rebound off Nathan Ake's wonder strike. I didn't even mention Nathan Ake's strike, did I, when I was talking about Nathan Ake? So go back, rewind that and slap that on Nathan Ake's score as well, because that deserved to be in the back of the net. And thankfully, Alvarez made sure it did. Brilliant from Alvarez. The finish for the 4th as well was very much what we've been seeing of Alvarez since he arrived at Manchester City. Just that instinct, 1 touch, pushes it out, buys himself a yard of space, drills it into that bottom left-hand corner. Really, really good from Julian Alvarez. His link-up play with Kovacic as well to get the assist. Really, really good. Again, Kovacic feeds the ball down Alvarez down the left-hand side, and he sees the run of Phil Foden, the pass. Don't underestimate the difficulty of that pass, keeping that ball away from the outstretched Fabio, but also into the path of Phil Foden. Really good from Alvarez. Good awareness, creative ability. So 2 goals and assist. That alone is enough to get himself a 9 out of 10, really. But outside of that, ground jewels, 3 out of 6 won. He created a big chance outside of the assist. 2 key passes, 2 shots from 4 attempts. 86% passing accuracy, 36 touches, and he lost the ball 9 times. Really good. Alvarez, really good. Hopefully he can carry this form into the Premier League now. And finally, Oscar Bob, 9 minutes of football played, 6 touches, 50% passing accuracy, which is 1 out of 2. No key passes, no zeros in all the columns, and he attempted a ground duel of which he didn't win, and he lost the ball 3 times. 6 out of 10 for Oscar Bob. Very little football to actually talk about there, but still, really good. Manchester City, club, World Cup champions, champions of the world, champions of England, champions of Europe, the best football team in the world. That old chestnut, that song we used to sing when we were down in League One. I'm not allowed to say York anymore because I keep using York as a reference. So who else? Barnsley. Let's go with let's bully Barnsley for a little bit. Beating Barnsley and facing the likes of Barnsley and taking the lead against Barnsley, and then hearing the echoes of City, City, the best team in the land and all the world. And I'm thinking, yeah, we're not really, are we? Let's be honest. We're down in League One and we've taken the lead against Barnsley. I'm very happy. Don't get me wrong, but the best team in the land and all the world seems a bit of a stretch. But now, not a stretch whatsoever. This is a perfectly reasonable statement to make. The best team in the land and all the world. Factual. Now, actual facts being slapped into the footballing world for everyone else to absorb. Our rival fans, we will have to eat it. Own it. Manchester City are the best in the biz. Hands down, champions of the world. Blues, I'm going to take a little break from the channel for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, as in tomorrow and the day after. So I do apologise for anyone who's expecting a video on Christmas Eve or a video on Christmas Day. I'm going to spend a bit of time with the family. I hope you understand. If it's any consolation, I'm going to feel really, really guilty about that because I do enjoy making the videos and I want to make videos every day, but I've got to get that family work balance right. And I feel those 2 days in particular are very much worth spending with family, as I recommend you do at home if you do celebrate Christmas. So that's what I'll be doing, but I'll be back on Boxing Day for the Everton preview. Look forward to that one, as well as the watch-along against Everton. Hopefully we can see Rodri in that team and we can laud our new title as world champions and shove it in the faces of every single Premier League opposition that we come up against. So come on, City. Let's get behind them now. Now we're back in the Premier League. Let's get this Premier League 4P done and dusted. We're going to win 4 Premier Leagues in a row and cement ourselves once again in another piece of historic footballing history for Manchester City. Get your comments in the comment sections below. I want to hear your thoughts. What are your player ratings for these particular group of players that played against Fluminense, and what's your overall thoughts being the champions of the world right now? Let me know in the comments. I really want to hear them. Like and subscribe. Typical City is the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.